Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraet Nashprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhagavati Nashiki Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. We are continuing our reading of Srimad Bhagavatam in the holy dham of Bhakti farms. Thank you, dear devotees, for your association. So, Canto 2, Chapter 3, text number 18. 2, 3, 18. Tarva kim na jivanti, Bhastra kim na shvasantyuta, न खादन्ति न मेहन्ति किं ग्रामे पशवो परे तर्व किं न जीवन्ति भस्रा किं न श्वसन्त्युत न खादन्ति न मेहन्ति किं ग्रामे पशवो परे तर्व किं न जीवन्ति वस्त्र किं न श्वसन्त्युत न खादन्ति न मेहन्ति किं ग्रामे पशवो परे तर्व किं न जीवन्ति वस्त्र किं न श्वसन्त्युत न खादन्ति न मेहन्ति किं ग्रामे पशवो परे तर्व किं न जीवन्ति वस्त्र किं न श्वसन्त्युत न खादन्ति न मेहन्ति किं ग्रामे पशवो परे Word for word translation of Prabhupada is to Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Tarva, the trees. Kim, whether. Na, to not. Jivanti, live. Bhastra, bellows. Kim, whether. Na, to not. Shwasanti, breathe. Uta, also. Na, do not. Khadanti, eat. Na, do not. Mehanti, discharge semen. Kim, whether. Grame, in the locality. Pashava, beastly living being. Apare, others. Translation: do the trees not live? Do the bellows of the blacksmith not breathe? All around us do the beasts not eat and discharge semen? Purport: the materialistic man of the modern age will argue that life, or part of it, is never meant for discussion of theosophical or theological arguments. Life is meant for the maximum duration of existence, for eating, drinking, sexual intercourse, making merry, and enjoying life. The modern man wants to live forever by the advancement of material science and there are many foolish theories for prolonging life to the maximum duration. But the Srimad Bhagavatam affirms that life is not meant for so-called economic development or advancement of materialistic science, for the hedonistic philosophy of eating, mating, drinking, and merrymaking. Life is solely meant for tapasya, for purifying existence so that one may enter into eternal life just after the end of the human form of life. The materialists want to prolong life as much as possible because they have no information of the next life. They want to get the maximum comforts in this present life because they think conclusively that there is no life after death. This ignorance about the eternity of the living being and the change of covering in the material world has played havoc in the structure of modern human society. Consequently, there are many problems multiplied by various plans of modernized man. The plans for solving the problems of society have only aggravated the troubles. Even if it is possible to prolong life more than 100 years, advancement of human civilization does not necessarily follow. The Bhagavatam says that certain trees live for hundreds and thousands of years. At Vrindavan, there is a tamarind tree. The place is known as Imlital, which is said to have existed since the time of Lord Krishna. In the Calcutta Botanical Garden, there is a banyan tree said to be older than 500 years. And there are many such trees all over the world. Swami Shankaracharya lived only 32 years, and Lord Chaitanya lived 48 years. Does it mean that the prolonged lives of the above mentioned trees are more important than Shankara or Chaitanya? Prolonged life without spiritual value is not very important. One may doubt that trees have life because they do not breathe. But modern scientists like Bose have already proved that there is life in plants. So breathing is no sign of actual life. The Bhagavatam says that the bellows of the blacksmith breathes very soundly, but that does not mean that the bellows has life. The materialist will argue that life in the tree and life in the man cannot be compared because the tree cannot enjoy life by eating palatable dishes or by enjoying sexual pleasure, sexual intercourse. In reply to this, the Bhagavatam asks whether other animals like the dogs and hogs living in the same village with human beings do not eat and enjoy sexual life. The specific utterance of Srimad Bhagavatam in regard to other animals means that persons who are simply engaged in planning a better type of animal life consisting of eating, breathing, and mating are also animals in the shape of human beings. A society of such polished animals cannot benefit suffering humanity, for an animal can easily harm another animal but rarely do good. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः. नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने. नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा. हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. Thank you, dear devotees. I seek your blessing so that I can speak following the mood of our Guru Parampara. Hare Krishna. So we are at another interesting verse. We heard from Shukdev Goswami in the first three chapters how he has compared different philosophies, Karma Kanda, Gyan Kanda, the elevationism, going to the higher planetary system, worship of demigods, merging in the impersonal Brahman through Shat Chakra Yoga, meditating on Paramatma in the heart for an attached yogi, for an unattached yogi. And then finally, he also speaks about Bhakti Yoga. After speaking all this, he concludes, Akama sarva kamo va moksha kamo dharadi tivrena bhakti yogena yajete purusham param. Whether a person is free of all material desires, or he's full of material desires, or he wants to have liberation, merge in the impersonal Brahmajyoti, all of these people should perform Bhakti Yoga unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Tivrena, with expedience, one must perform devotional service, and all those desires can be fulfilled. So at this point, Suta Goswami, who is presenting the conversation between Shukdev and Parikshit, he has stopped. And Shaunaka doesn't want to stop. Shaunaka, who is representing the sages in Naimisharanya, and he is inspiring, he's encouraging Suta to speak further. He's glorifying how Parikshit Maharaj used to play with his dolls, and he would imitate deity worship. So Maharaj Parikshit was a great devotee. Also, Shukdev Goswami is a great transcendentalist. So they must have discussed qualities of Krishna. Please continue speaking. Then he speaks that verse that we discussed yesterday, that this human life is taken away every day by sun by rising and setting takes away the duration of everybody's life, except for those who spend their time in hearing the glories of the all good personality of Godhead. His name is Uttama Shloka. Krishna's name is Uttama Shloka, that he is worshipped with selected prayers. Uttama, it's a very nice word in Sanskrit. Uta means to say or to glorify. And there in English we have a singular, comparative, and superlative. These are the three. For example, high, higher, and the highest, right? So similarly in Sanskrit we have those three: Uta, Uttara, and Uttama. So Uta is something which is above. Uttara is higher, and Uttama is the best. So there is nothing higher than Krishna, who is glorified by Uttama Shloka. The best kind of prayers are used to worship Krishna. That's why his name is Uttama Shloka. So now he's saying that what is the use of living long duration of life? Trees live for hundreds and thousands of years. We see so many trees. Oak tree we were discussing yesterday, myself and Suvan Bindu Prabhu. There is an oak tree, lives for hundreds of years, but it's not as valuable as human life because the tree cannot realize the potential um, of living being to go back home, back to Godhead, or to glorify Krishna, to hear about Krishna. So this verse is Shaunaka is continuing. There are many people who live like trees. They live long life, and they breathe like they are alive. But there are bellows. Blacksmith, when a blacksmith is working on iron to make it hotter and hotter and to shape it, just like we were discussing the example of razor yesterday. In order to sharpen the iron, you have to bring it to a very high temperature so that we can mold it. So they use a bellow to to push air onto the iron so that fire can come and it can burn, the temperature can rise. So they use bellows, and that these bellows, they seem like they breathe because there's inhalation and there's exhalation. So there are many people who live like bellows. They are breathing, but they are actually dead if they are not hearing about Krishna. What is the use of their breathing? And then Prabhupada says in the purport that There are trees, but trees cannot be compared with the human beings because human beings can move about, they can enjoy palatable dishes, and then they can enjoy sexual intercourse. But what about the beasts? There are many beasts who can do that. They can go around. They are having good food of their liking, what they want to eat. Krishna has provided for everybody, and they are having sexual intercourse. So, but what is the use of that kind of life unless they are able to hear about Krishna? So he's empathizing. Sorry, so what is that word? Emphasizing why he wants to hear, and he's encouraging, he's inspiring Suta Goswami. So I was just checking on Chat GPT what are the modern theories for prolonging the duration of human life, and it was mentioning about few theories, few techniques that people do: weight management, exercising, dieting, sleeping appropriately. There is a sleep number. So people buy expensive mattresses so that they can sleep nicely and be very protective in life and increase their life duration. Avoid harmful substances like alcohol and etc. Fast food, preventive health care, mental and social well-being, protective habits like wearing a seat belt. All these are for prolonging the duration of human life. And then there is gene therapies, stem cell therapies, met metformin, NAD boosters, and it is said that none of them can conclusively increase human duration of life, but these are the different techniques they use for increasing the duration of life. I was also checking this fact. Gene Calment is the longest living person. His age was 122 years. Gene Calment. But it's inconclusive if it is not used for self-realization, for the purpose of self-realization. And then there's a verse um, by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita which talks about the temporary nature of material sense pleasures. ये ही संस्पर्शजा भोगा दुःख योनय एवते आदि अंतवंत कौन्तेय न तेषु रमते बुधा. Why should one not be after these material sense pleasures? Eating, sleeping, mating, defending. Because they have a beginning and they have an end. They seem very good idea. Sexual intercourse seems like a great idea, but they stay for a short time and then one falls into misery again. So one who is reflective, one who is thoughtful, honest, one should understand this. Krishna says, so those people who are intelligent, they don't take pleasure in those things which are temporary. They look for something which is eternal. Ramante yogino anante satyanande chidatmani iti rama padenasu param brahma bhidiyate. This is from Padma Purana. It mentions that the mystics take unlimited pleasure in chanting the names of Ram because he's he's the absolute truth and he gives unlimited pleasure. He is the source of all pleasures. So that's why he's known as Rama. Rama means spiritual pleasure in that word. Param Brahma Vidiyate. There's another verse in this context. Maharaj Rishabh Dev is giving instructions to his 100 sons. Canto 5, Chapter 5, text number 1. So he's glorifying, actually, he's giving them the instructions for purification. Prabhupada says in the purport that this human life is meant for tapasya. If it is not meant for material sense pleasure, then what is the use of this this body, it is meant for tapasya, for austerities. We were thinking about a tagline for our brahmachari ashram, and we remember once Prabhupada, actually Vijay Prabhu quoted this in one of the classes. Prabhupada told the brahmacharis in the Gurukul, how they should be trained. So Prabhupada says, teach them the joy of austerity. There is a joy in austerity. That is Rama. We are here in Bhakti farms, we are rising early, taking cold shower, but there is a joy in this austerity. This we cannot find anywhere else. We were in Lake Tahoe for 2 weeks for book distribution. People come here, there from all over the world to see the inspiration point, to go to bathe in the lake. But many of them go back miserable because it is so expensive to be there, and many of them wake up late and drink, have hangover next day. So even though they come with the desire to get happiness, they go back with miserable. The same is visiting Disney, what is that called? Disney Park, Disneyland in New Orleans, in Louisiana somewhere. Yeah. And LA, and there's one more. Okay, in Florida also there's, yeah. So they go to visit the mouse, but they come back miserable because material pleasures have a beginning and an end. On the other hand, these pleasures where we are performing austerity, waking up early, taking shower, applying tilak, chanting, dancing, this is unlimited pleasure. And we do not have any regrets after performing that austerity. On the other hand, those people who spend millions of dollars or hundreds or thousands of dollars in these different vacations, they still are left lacking. They're they the pleasures, the promises fall short. They cannot sustain. Actually, recently I attended a class by Mukundat Prabhu, and he was mentioning about this. Let's see if I have those notes. Yeah. He was saying that there are only uh, three possibilities. We want something and we don't get it because we don't have the karma credit for it, material pleasures. Second thing, we get what we want, but it's really not up to the mark. Many times we buy something, for example, shoes or some gear or gadgets, and then we feel it's not up to the mark. So, and the third thing is we get what we want and we like it, and then we become attached, and then we lose it. So then we lament because any material thing, it won't stay with us. We have to lose in the term of death. Either we will lose the body or this will lose the object, the sense pleasure. So this is the three different things which can happen with material pleasure. Ultimately, it will end in misery. On the other hand, when we aspire for spiritual happiness, when we perform austerity, we don't need any karma credit for performing bhakti. One can start from anywhere. Kirat hunandar pulind pulkasha avir javna shumba khashadaya. Yenne cha papaya dapashraya shraya shuddhanti tasmai Prabhu Vishnave namaha. Even those people who are born in a culture where there is no spiritual understanding, there is no spiritual emancipation, there is no process for spiritual life, even they can progress in spiritual life by taking shelter of Krishna and his devotees. So we don't need any credit in order to begin devotional service. We get what we want. We get to dance, we get to honor nice prasadam like we had yesterday and day before. and we go out and bathe, have time together, and we get opportunity to distribute to others. So one can get attached to it and it will stay with us forever, this life and afterlife. These things, these kind of austerities, whatever we have developed, the stamina we have developed in this life, it will stay in this life and the next life. Vijay Prabhu is an example for 50 years and going. So, so I was asking this question from His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami. How can we continue our motivation in Mangalarti, doing the same thing over and over? He said that if one is sincerely attending these morning programs, one will feel more and more ecstasy every day. It's not going to reduce, actually, it will increase, even though we are following the same program. So that's the difference between material pleasure and spiritual pleasure. Another thing that Mukundat Prabhu was mentioning, how can we get more out of Krishna consciousness? He referred to Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. He says one process to get more out of Krishna consciousness is to better appreciate the association we have already. We have to become grateful for the appreciation we have. I remember Vaisheshika Maharaj, he has this prayer whenever he chants or anytime he prays, "Oh my Lord, please send me the best association from all over the world and please give me the wherewithal so that I can take the benefit, the advantage of that association." So if we can better appreciate the association we already have, we can get more out of Krishna consciousness. Second thing, if you don't have association, you are seeking, you want more, then seek out better association. If you are in a room where there are many other devotees and you are the smartest, then you are in a wrong room. So seek out better association. These days we have Zoom classes like Satwat Prabhu is joining, although he has a working day, he is joining online. So seek out association of devotees via online or in person. Third is create an association for yourself, like Srila Prabhupada did. So, as Vijay Prabhu referred many times, he wanted devotee association. So he said, "Okay, I'm preaching so vigorously because I don't have an association. I need devotee association for myself." So we have the opportunity to go out, distribute books, and invite them for reading calls, for in-person sessions. So we create that association. When I was in Bangalore, I was being cultivated as a bhakta. My mentor told me in a class like this, he said, "I am a fence for you, and you are a fence for me." So it is not that only newcomers needs protection. Actually, devotees who have been practicing for some time, they also need protection. So when we go out and preach, we are cultivating newcomers. These newcomers, these devotees, they are fence, they are protection for the uh, preaching devotee, because one has to be accountable towards the newcomers. That's why these brahmachari ashrams are very potent. We have devotees who are coming fresh, we have devotees who have been practicing for decades, and we have devotees who are in the middle. So all of them are accountable to each other. So we all act as a fence for each other. So it's important to appreciate the devotee association we have, seek out for better association, and create an association for ourselves. Another thing that Prabhupada mentions in this purport is that many times people try to solve these material problems and the solution they create are actually more problematic. The reason why they do it, because they don't believe in afterlife. I was hearing to Prabhupada this morning and he was mentioning meeting an elderly person who was 74 or 84, and Prabhupada was asking, "So what's your plan? I mean, what happens when we die?" He says, "Nothing, there's nothing more after this." So people don't believe in afterlife. That's why they don't want to aspire for spiritual happiness or austerities, because they think after this life there is nothing more. So let me enjoy to the best capacity, increase my life duration as much as possible, and enjoy as much as I can. So people have this ignorance, and that ignorance has created havoc in this world, as Prabhupada is mentioning. And they are trying to solve these material problems. These solutions are more problematic than the original problem itself. Prahlad Maharaj says this in 7:9:17 in his prayers to Lord Nrsingadev. O Great One, O Supreme Lord, because of combination with pleasing and displeasing circumstances, and because of separation from them, one is placed in a most regrettable position within heavenly or hellish planets, as if burning in a fire of lamentation. That's what we call the forest fire. Sometimes we come in touch with happiness, sometimes there is separation. So one is feeling heaven and hell at the same time. It's called the fire of lamentation. There's a image of a person who is holding on to a branch of a tree, and below him there's a well, there's a dark well, there's a snake, and above him there are honeybees who are biting his mouth, and there is some honey dripping from the branch of the tree, and he is somehow holding on to the branch of the tree, looking for that one drop of honey because he's getting some happiness. There are some rats who are chewing on the branch of the tree. They are like day and night, black rat, white rat. So with every day and night, life is going away. And there is a tiger. There's a tiger, fear of existence, struggle for existence. One has to work very hard to maintain oneself, to maintain the status quo. And the death is approaching soon. But because of that one drop of honey, the human being is clinging to material life, to material happiness. But this material happiness is more troublesome than the um, even the solutions are more troublesome than the problems. Although there are many remedies by which to get out of miserable life, any such remedies in the material world are more miserable than the miseries themselves. Therefore, I think that the only remedy is to engage in your service. Kindly instruct me in such service. So that's the prayer of a devotee. Please, please keep me protected from Maya. As Vijay Prabhu was mentioning, Srila Prabhupada said that I will never come under the attack of Maya. And then he was praying to the deities in Australia, and devotee asked, what were you praying, Srila Prabhupada? And Srila Prabhupada said, I was praying for protection. So we have to always pray to Krishna for protection from Maya. Another thing I want to mention is sattva. What does austerity do for us? It actually purifies our existence. Sattvam, actually, this is one of the items of knowledge in Bhagavad Gita. In 13.8 to 11, Krishna speaks about 20 items of knowledge, and one of the items of knowledge is purification of one's existence. Sattvam Samshuddhi. So, Mukundat Prabhu mentioned that actually in the recent class. अमानित्वम् अदम्भित्वम् अहिंसा शान्तिराज्यम् आचार्योपासनं शौचं स्थैर्यम् आत्मविनिग्रहम् इन्द्रियार्थेषु वैराग्यम् अनहङ्कार एव च जन्म मृत्युजराव्याधि दुःखदोषानुदर्शनम् असक्तिरनभिष्वङ्गा पुत्रदारगृहादिषु नित्यं च समचित्तत्वम् इष्टानिष्टोपपत्तिषु मयि चानन्ययोगेन भक्तिरव्यभिचारिणी विविक्तदेशसेवित्वम् अरतिर्जनसंसदि. अध्यात्म ज्ञान नित्यत्वम तत्व ज्ञानार्थ दर्शनम एतद् ज्ञानम इति प्रोक्तम अज्ञानम यथोन्यथा. I think it's a different chapter. Sattvam Samshuddhi. Maybe it's a 16th chapter where Krishna speaks about qualities, divine qualities. Yeah, sorry, this is 16.1 through 3. Abhyam Sattva Samshuddhi. So Sattva here does not mean the mode of goodness. It means existence. Sat means to exist, and Tva makes it a, um, a noun when we have Tva. Sattva, the existence. Sattva means existence. Sattva Samshuddhi means purification of one's existence. So when we perform austerities, they purify us, they purify our heart. So we can appreciate Krishna consciousness, we can appreciate spiritual happiness. Even when a student, when a child goes to the school, he doesn't want to go to the school because he doesn't derive any immediate pleasure from that. That's called there is a there is there are two kind of pleasures. One is immediate and another one is long-term pleasure. There is some Sanskrit term for it. Not able to recollect. Um, there is immediate pleasure and Shreyas and praise. Thank you very much. Yeah. So Shreyas means which is ultimately beneficial, and prayers is which is immediately beneficial. Thank you very much. So if we work on austerities, then we purify our existence and we derive ultimate happiness, which is Shreyas. But prayers, if we try to engage ourselves in material pleasures, that's immediately we get some happiness, but ultimately it ends like a poison. In the beginning, it tastes like nectar, but it ends like poison. On the other hand, happiness in the mode of goodness tastes like poison in the beginning, it ends like nectar. Just like we say in chanting Hare Krishna, it tastes like poison in the beginning, and every day chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, the same mantra. Can't we change the mantra? Don't you have other bhajans to sing besides Hare Krishna? Vijay Prabhu was mentioning. In UC Berkeley, somebody was criticizing all the religions, and he said, "These Hare Krishna, I get it, I get it. Tell me something more." Why are you repeating the same thing over and over again? But actually, there is so much pleasure. Rupa Goswami says these two words, these two syllables, Krishna, they have produced so much nectar that I want millions of ears and millions of tongues to chant these names and to hear these names. And that's what we aspire for in Shikshashtakam. When will that day come? When I chant your holy name, Krishna, my throat will choke. Tears will well up in my eyes and my body will shiver. When will that day come? So that's what devotees are experiencing, the advanced devotees. So I will stop here. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Well, it's already 8. If anybody has one question, reflection, we can take it. Yes, please.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. My question is, are those who are not practicing devotional service, basically like karmis, or if they're engaged in some austerity, are they being purified? How does that work?
Very good question. There are other people whose goal is not devotional service, but they are performing austerities. There is a book called 5 a.m. Club. CEOs wake up early and want to work early in the day, so it takes some effort to wake up early, and they are successful materially. So your question is, what is
I
the
mean,
question?
are they like becoming purified?
Do they benefit?
Yeah, I mean, are they able to like develop like good qualities because of it? Or is it just temporary, like
It's
it disappears after?
it's temporary, and it makes one proud. The highest that materialists can come is the mode of goodness. They can't transcend mode of goodness with their austerities if they are not doing in relationship with Krishna. So they can develop those qualities for some time, mode of goodness, but that will be on the mental platform, as we know the verse 5, 18, 12. Harava bhaktasya kuto mahatguna manorathena sati dhavato bhahi. Because of their austerities, they might come to a platform where they have these good qualities, kindness, forgiveness. But because it is on the mental platform, they won't be able to stick to it. So Prabhupada was having a conversation with this person who was an Arya Samaji. Prabhupada would go to this postman, post office manager who was an Arya Samaji, and Prabhupada would ship Back to Godhead magazines through the post office, right? And this Arya Samaji was asking Prabhupada, why do you have to, the title is Back to Godhead. You don't have to go to Godhead, just be good person, be a moral person, do good to others, don't harm anybody. That's it. Don't need anything else. And Prabhupada said, how do you define what is good and what is bad? How do you define it? Unless we have Krishna in the center, we won't know what is good, what is bad. Unless we follow Shastra, how do we know what's the measure for goodness and bad? In India, there is some standard for goodness. In US, there is some other standard for goodness and bad. For example, honking. In India, it is, if you can't honk, you can't drive. It's just not possible. In US, it can be considered rude if you do that. How do you decide what is right, what is wrong? So only when we accept Shastra as a measure, then we can say, okay, this is good, this is bad. So similarly, when we fix our heart on Krishna, then we can know what is dharma and what is adharma. So all these other qualities which may look nice and lucrative, they are temporary. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says those people who are materialists, they are like snakes with a jewel on their head. They have good qualities, they seem to have good qualities, but they will bite at the right opportunity. Whenever they get an opportunity, they will bite. So that's the qualities of materialist. We know Jarasandh, we know Bali Maharaj. I mean, before he surrendered to Krishna. These are demons, they had good qualities. Karna, very, very charitable to Brahmanas. I mean, Karna gave his own armor and earrings to Indra, who came for charity as a Brahmana. Very charitable, but they are against Krishna, so they are demons. Okay, we'll stop here. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai,
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Why did you stop?
Because we are already over time, right?
Nice. Acha.
Hare Krishna, Satguru, thank you for joining.
The computer